what's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music, hanging out with my guitar teacher and mentor growing up, my guitar teacher from college, Chris Sherlin.
Woo!
His site and YouTube channel is
Curious Guitarist.
The Curious Guitarist. We'll have links below for you to go check it out. It's awesome, great guitar instruction from the
source.
Jedi Master
From
who
the
taught
source.
me. You will go to the Dagobah system, also known as the Curious Guitarist. You have a really cool lead guitar hack with the minor pentatonic. I mean, it could be any pentatonic, but...
Right, and really you could do this with anything, and I'm talking about chords or scales. But, you know, the pentatonic scale is one that we all, you know, it's got a high sense of gravity. We all learn it early on. It's one of the things we carry with us all the time.
So we're going to do key of A.
Key of A. But there's those 5 shapes that you have to learn, and they're each different, right? So you've got the main one, and then your next one looks like this. And it's like, how could that be the same scale? It looks different, right? And it's very, very confusing, especially for somebody who doesn't understand the fretboard, right? You're thinking, how could that be the same scale? Because it looks totally different. Well, if you just focus on the root of the scale, and in this case, we're in the key of A, you really only ever have to worry about 2 shapes instead of 5. And those 2 shapes are right inside the main pattern. So the first one, you just play the scale from the A up an octave using your index finger. There's your whole scale, right? Now, just for grins, if you take your index finger and put it on any A on the neck, you can play that exact same pattern. Here's another A, right? I could do it here. I gotta watch out for the B string because it's tuned down, but look, it's the same exact pattern. Now I've played the pentatonic scale all over the neck, right? And I didn't have to learn all the 5 positions. Here's another A here. Same exact pattern, right? So now I've got this one thing that's really taken me around the neck. The next half of that scale, same notes, just up an octave, but now starting on my ring finger, if I do that same trick, now the pattern changes a little bit because of that B string, but if you can stick with it and use your sort of cognition to figure that out, now you've got that same scale everywhere on the neck just from your ring finger. Right? Whoops.
Good example of when it doesn't sound right.
Right, this. That doesn't sound right
So
at all.
that means you're going to go below or above that.
Right,
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're teaching about dissonance here. But what I've done now is I've mapped the whole scale in relationship to the root, and really, scales are best played in relationship to some tonic center. Because if you're just playing a scale, that might sound really fun, but you're really not making music, right? It's much more sort of expressive to make sure you know where that root is. And finish your phrase, right? With your fingers anchored on the root, you can cover the entire neck. Anytime you find an A anywhere, and you don't really have to spend a lot of time on the shapes that look confusing. But then what happens is, let's say you get to this shape here. Right? It doesn't look anything like that shape, right? But both of these shapes are inside it. Right? They're both anchored off that A. Those 2 shapes that are inside here are right there. And so you spread out all your knowledge of the scale without necessarily having to sort of learn it from a context that doesn't make any sense. Because when I start the scale here, it's like, what? That doesn't sound like the same scale because I'm starting here and I'm ending here, and neither of those are A. Right? And that's not this.
So doing that way, it's like a reference point.
Exactly.
To then help you put it all together.
Right, and you've got some sonic gravity. Like, instead of just like fingers and you know, dots and stuff, you've got sonic gravity, so you're attaching something you know to your ear right? And that is coming through your hands. You know how you program muscle memory. It's not just your muscles. Like you're also getting some really super good information about what it sounds like, right? So what I always tell students is don't bother with those initially. Don't bother with those 5 positions. Just get the scale down from octave to octave and really listen to how it sounds. And then you can take that information and spread it around. And suddenly you don't need to know all the positions. You can just find an A, any A.
So I'll play rhythm,
Okay.
and you can kind of emphasize that.
Yeah, so here's what I'll do. I'll just play 3 notes. I'm going to play the root of the scale, the flat 3, which is the next note in the scale, and then the note behind the root. I'm just going to use those 3 notes. I'm not going to play the scale all over the place, and I'll just, every time I get to an A, I'll express the scale in that way.
Beautiful.
If the context is, I've got 5 different things that I've got to memorize. They all look different. And that I have to bring all that context into something called blues in A. That's a lot of cognitive load for me, right? But if I only have 3 notes to worry about, and I know where that A is, now I have very little context to bring along, and I can hear the whole thing, rather than all that information about, well, this one sort of looks like Lincoln's face, and this one looks like a toilet.
Never heard that before.
I just made that up.
I love it. You know, the Lincoln's face.
The Lincoln's face shape. This one looks like a football with an Adam's apple, and that one looks...
I love it. All right, so real quick, just want to thank Chris Sherlin again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Check out his channel and his website,
Curious
Guitarist. Links down in the description. And like I said, he was my guitar teacher, so check him out in the links below. And we'll see you guys soon.